Hello everybody. We are on day 6 of our Proverbs study. We will be in chapter 6 today. We're going to get right into this. I'm going to read the first 11 verses of this chapter out of the Amplified version, just because it's a lot easier to understand. We're going to go through the first 11 verses. This chapter is about warnings, and verses 1 through 11 are about warnings against idleness, or idleness being just not doing anything. You know, the Bible says, or I don't know if it's the Bible, but I've heard it said multiple times, an idle mind is the devil's playground. So let's get going. Verse 1. Again, this is the Amplified version. My son, if you have become surety, which means guaranteed a debt or obligation for your neighbor, if you have given your pledge for the debt of a stranger or another outside of your family, if you have been snared with the words of your lips, if you have been trapped by the speech of your mouth, do this now, my son. Release yourself from the obligation. Since you have come into the hand of your neighbor, go humble yourself and plead with your neighbor to pay his debt and release you. Make things right between you and people around you. Verse 4, give no unnecessary sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Tear yourself away like a gazelle from the hand of a hunter and like a bird from the hand of a fowler. Don't do dealings with people that are not of God. Verse 6, go to the ant, O lazy one, observe her ways, and be wise, which having no chief, overseer, or ruler, she prepares her food in the summer. Talking about how ants are. She prepares her food in the summer and brings in her provisions of food for the winter in the harvest. How long will you lie down, O lazy one? Don't be lazy. Even the ants have an unction about them to prepare for what is to come. Verse 10, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to lie down and rest. So your poverty will come like an approaching prowler who walks slowly but surely, and your need will come like an armed man. So don't be lazy. Don't be idle. But that's an open door for the devil in your life. Don't be a busybody, but have purpose in your life. Verse 12, and this is a warning about sowing discord. And now I'm going to read from the King James Version. I really like the King James Version. I like Amplified, I like Passion translation, but I always like to go back to King James. So if I can use King James, I'm going to use it. Starting in verse 12. 12 through 19 is a warning against sowing discord. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward or perverse mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, and he teacheth with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart. Okay, I wanted to go back to verse 13, and it says, he winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. And I was like, Lord, what does that mean? So I had to do some digging, and I'm going to tell you what it means. It is a Hebrew metaphor. It's a Hebrew metaphor. That's why when we read it here as Americans, we're like, okay, that makes no sense. But in Hebrew, the wink represents mockery. The feet, shuffles feet, represents to signal, and points fingers, it means to give subverse instruction. This is a Hebrew imagery of those who wink their eyes, shuffle their feet, and point their fingers. This is a figure of speech for the devious ways of the wicked. So, it's basically a metaphor about people that are wicked. In a nutshell, that's what it means. So let's keep going. Verse 14, frowardness, perverseness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. That means he's stirring up stuff with people. How many of you know somebody who's a pot stirrer? I mean, God love them. You know, we've probably all been there, but don't be like that. Verse 15, therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Verse 16, this is very important. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. I'm not going to get in on that one, but if you know, you know. A heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies. That's talking about somebody behind their back. And he that soweth discord among brethren. You know, I really think we need to break those 6 things down at a different time, because those are some deep things. Anyways, I think we'll probably do a deep dive on that soon. Verse 20. This is verse 20 through 35 is a warning against adultery. Again, we are talking about sexual sins in Proverbs. It's all got a lot to do with sexual sins. Think about who wrote it. Solomon, the man who had 700 wives, is talking about sexual sins a lot, because the man knows what he's talking about. So let's start with verse 20. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them around their neck. Basically, don't forget them. Apply them to your life. Verse 22, when thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. It will guide you. Verse 23, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instructions are the way of life. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. It's talking about a woman, but women of God. This applies for men of God, not men of God, for wicked men too. Men that try to seduce you, that you know good and well he ain't worth a plug nickel. Leave him alone. Everybody has messed with a man that it wasn't worth it. Verse 25, lust not after her or his beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. Basically saying she eats him up and she's done with him. Could be vice versa. And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? If you lay down in the bed with dogs, you're going to get fleas. So verse 29, so he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Woo! Scandalous. Verse 30, men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his soul when he's hungry. Basically, that verse is saying if somebody steals because they're hungry, it's not justified, but people aren't mad about it. He still has to pay the consequence, but that's a little different. But if he be found, he shall be restored sevenfold. Talking about when the thief is found for what he's done, he's going to have to pay back what he did. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whosoever committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding or common sense. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. So I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. This is talking about when the husband of this woman is done found out you've slept with her, you ain't got a chance. 34, continuing on. Therefore, he will not spare in the day of vengeance. Basically, he's going to beat your tail. 35, he will not regard any ransom. You ain't going to be able to pay him off. Neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. So, basically, stay with your man. Stay away from married people. Proverbs is very deep, and it talks about scandalous things sometimes. It's really good. So, that was chapter 6. Tomorrow, we will do day 7 and be in chapter 7. I'm really enjoying this so far. I hope y'all enjoyed this one, and I will see you tomorrow.